So obviously in Australia we're about to head into a wet period. We're in autumn at the moment. Anyone who's got rain issues won't have known them if they're in a new house until now. So we've had a few people come into the shop recently to buy sump and pump packages. Brandon here was knocking this one up and I just caught him doing it, so I said let's make a video on it so that we can help some people at home or even in other states that aren't able to get this shipped. So in order to make a successful sump and pump package, you need a sump, a pump, and the bits to stick it together. Now, this here's a barrel union. A barrel union is going to be used if you need to remove the pump for service or repair.
Put that at the top.
We have that sitting at the top so that the nut doesn't fall down and it keeps debris out. And then there's a non-return valve down here. This is really important. So the non-return valve is it's a swing check. So I'll show you inside. If you have a look there, water will come out that hole. And then when the pump turns off, you've got 20 or 30 meters of pipe above that. It's going to try and rush back into the sump. If this isn't working or isn't installed, the sump's going to fill back up with water, the pump's going to re-engage, and it's just going to keep pumping up, pumping and rolling down, pumping up, rolling down. So beginners' mistakes that you will have with these is putting them the wrong way around. There's a direction of flow on the side. Brandon had it right because he's a legend.
That's what I do.
That's what he does. So as I said at the start of the video, I caught him doing this, so he's pre-drilled the hole, so you won't get to see him in action there. Here's one we prepared earlier. I've been waiting to say that. The idea with this, you want the hole down low enough from the top of the sump that you can fit the fittings that he's got without the ball valve hitting the top of the sump. And you don't want it so low that the pump will be affected by the infrastructure above it. If you have a look at this pump here, it's quite tall, so you haven't got much room from there to there. The great thing about this pump, you can have an outlet down here or at the top. You're probably getting a lot of echoing from that. So is that you'll fit these from the bottom?
Yeah, we'll go on the side just because there's not enough room if you go at the top.
So this is a Grundfos CC7, I believe.
Yep.
And we choose to use Grundfos for all of our pumps. We don't stock anything else, do we now?
No, unless people ask for it.
We've danced between all of the brands. Grundfos are the world's biggest pump manufacturer. They don't mess around. The client base that we deal with is predominantly trade, and they don't have time to stuff around. So we buy the best, they buy the best, and the rest takes care of itself. So Brandon's basically dry fit this together so you can see what it looks like. It wouldn't go in like this. He would need to thread tape all of the fittings up. And then this cap, what do you do? So we remove that.
Yeah, it's a check valve that comes with it.
So the pump comes with a non-return valve, but it's plastic. We've gone with a brass one. And then this cap, oh God, so professional. That'll just keep ringing. So the cap that I've taken off the bottom, you'll put on the top.
Yep.
And that's got an O-ring in it, so that seals up. So you just want that hand tight. Yep. So then Brandon can fit that swing check down here.
Yep, that'll fit on the side there. Give you just enough room for some pipe.
So as you can see, there's not a lot of room there. There's only going to be, say 150 or 200 of pipe. Once all these fittings get screwed together, they're going to bunch up a bit more, so there'll be a bit more room there. And then the way this pump works is water will fill up the sump and that float will lift up. If you listen for this, that click is the pump engaging. It's got a ball inside that. The water will then pump out until it clicks off. And that's there. So if that's floating in water, you can see it's probably got 80 to 100 mil of water still covering the pump. That's important because if the pump runs dry, sometimes it can be hard for it to reprime itself. So when the landscaper or the plumber fits this on site, they need to make sure that they get water in the outlet pipe or the rising main, which can be done by taking that barrel union off and letting water come back down the pipe. Sometimes you'll be lucky and you can put it in and it will prime itself, but it depends on how much head you've got. I put one of these in at my house recently. We've got about 50 meters of head, so we had to run water down the hose to fill it up so that it was primed. And that's pretty much it. If you get air in the pipe with this, air compresses, so the pump can't prime it because it's just pushing the air, and it can't break through that. I don't even know what the term for that is, but if you do, comment below. Airlock.
I think it's called an airlock.
He's winning so far. So if that's right, give him a thumbs up. If it's wrong, comment below. But this is it. So we'll get Brandon putting it together now, and then we'll show you what a complete sump and pump package looks like. The great thing about having this built by a shop like us is that you can take it all apart, fit the sump, and just have the barrel union sitting in the ground, and then the pump won't be on site until it needs to be, which is going to avoid any issues with theft or damage. So if you can have a look at what Brandon's doing now, this thread tape technique that he's using is really good. We'll have to do another one now. So we've done videos on thread taping before. See how he's holding the roll so that he can actually maintain the tension on the thread tape while he's turning it. A lot of people, you'll find they'll go the other way from what he's doing, and the roll just gets further and further away from the fitting. This gives him full control. So with pink thread tape, which is a thicker thread tape, you have less rotations required. We use pink thread tape on all of our gear. It's a bit thicker than white, but white would be fine in this situation.
Make sure it goes in the right way so the handle doesn't hit there, so we'll have to put it in that way. It doesn't, as long as it goes on the side, so we can open it up or down, just for a bit of ease while it's in there. You just pre-thread it and then tighten it all up afterwards. Because as you tighten one side, the other side usually tightens up with it. If you go with the thread as well, when you tighten it, the tape doesn't loosen. So if you thread tape it the other way, it'll start actually coming off as you're tightening it. These don't go in all the way because of the thread size in the swing checks, stop them from going all the way in. Now you're going to make sure the swing check's also done up to a point where it's not going to hit that, because if you have it facing the same way like that, this part here sticks out more, so it'll end up hitting the pump.
Makes sense.
So you just got to tighten it to a point where it's on the outside. You need to have the adjustable float so you can adjust the cable length to wherever, depending on how much water is coming out of it. And if anything gets stuck in the bottom, it helps with the adjustment.
This is what we prepared earlier. Something else that's really important to remember when you're putting in a sump pump is to make sure that you buy one with a long enough cord to get to the power point that you're going to be using to turn the pump on. These pumps don't like their cords being extended. They are the length they are for a reason, and if you extend them, you'll tend to burn the pumps out. So, what's that, 5 meters?
Yeah, I think they've got a 5 meter cord on it.
The longest you'll probably get on a cord out off the shelf's 10 meters. So ideally, if you can have the pump sitting next to the power point, that's the best situation. So Brandon's getting pretty close to this being finished. What do you reckon that's taken? 10 minutes? How long have you been recording for?
23 minutes.
23 minutes? So my time perception's a bit out, but yeah. You know, it's something that you can put together in under half an hour. Obviously, if you don't want to do it yourself or you haven't got the time, Waterpro can do these as a service. So Brandon's at the point now where we just need to cut that hose.
Yep, get some worm drives.
Clamp all that up and then
Yep.
put the grate on and it's ready to ship. While Brandon's doing that, I'll just explain a bit more about pumps. So with pumping out of a pipe, it's really important to size the pipe correctly. If you don't know how to do that, contact an irrigation shop or a pump shop and they'll be able to do it for you. There's a common misconception that the smaller the pipe, the better the pressure, and it's not the case. If you've got a small pipe, it chokes the pump and it puts pressure back on the pump, and the pump's not going to work properly, and eventually your pump will burn out. Plus, the pump's not going to be able to empty the sump quick enough. So this sump here is a 600 by 600 sump. That's a 216 litre sump. This pump is a what is it? 10 cubic meters an hour. So 10 cubic meters an hour is 10,000 litres an hour. Hey Google, what's 10,000 divided by 60?
The answer is approximately 166.6.
166 litres per minute that pump will push out, but that's at the pump. So as I explained before, pipe affects pumps. So if your pump is pumping through pipe that's really small, that 166 is going to drop down to probably 40 pretty quickly. So again, get an irrigation shop or a pump shop to size the pipe that you need as your outlet pipe, so that you're not putting your pump under pressure, but you're also emptying your 216 litres as quickly as you can.
Could get the lube too.
Alright. So, while Brandon's doing that, I'll talk a bit about the inlet pipe. So, most of the time a sump like this is going to be coming off of groundwater or off of a roof. So there's going to be 90mm pipe that comes into the side. It's not vital, but it's important to think about where it goes and how it might affect this float. If you see what I just did then, I pushed the float and it hit the edge. If the float is getting water dumping on it in a peak rain, it's going to fight a bit harder to get up. It's still going to float, but you want to, this is something that I do when I build them, is just have the float somewhere that it's not going to be impacted by the 90mm. Also to think about the rising main, so that he could have actually drilled that here if he wanted to, or he could have drilled it there if he wanted to. We do them standard central at about what, 150 below the top.
Yep.
So
150.
What was it?
150.
So 150 below the grate to the centre of the hole, and that's worked well enough so that this handle can be turned off. The grate will still sit there. So if someone wanted to remove this pump after it's been fitted, they'd turn the handle off to stop all the water rushing back down, unscrew that barrel unit and remove that pump and take it into service or repair. Obviously Grundfos pumps don't need servicing and repairing, so we probably didn't need to put the barrel unit in, but good practice anyway. Measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
Or if you're Brando, just measure once and get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you've said that, I'll just measure it. It's not an easy measurement to get to. It's not the easiest thing to measure when the pipe's curved, is it?
No. But using a flexible pipe like that's good for a few reasons. When these pumps turn on, they can tend to move a little bit. So if you have a rubberized pipe like that, it gives it some flex. In saying that, they're completely fine to have this fitted as a PVC pipe. Make sure you have an adult present when you're doing this cut.
Oh, I'm glad you're here.
So the dishwashing detergent's good as a lubricant for this because the water washes it away once it's on. Little plumbing trick.
Yep. Or you can use a heat gun, but I found that the detergent works a lot easier.
And the heat gun also changes the shape of the pipe, whereas the detergent doesn't. We use antibacterial detergent for this in line with current COVID-19 practices. This is amazing stuff. You wouldn't have been able to film in here 2 weeks ago.
It's true.
Brandon tidied it all up.
I didn't. I just
that'd be good.
I did it. I did do it.
I did all of it. So once it's full of water, the float will obviously slowly float up, or when it's filling up with water, I don't want to waste any water. So I'll simulate the float. See, it's actually priming itself now. So yeah, Brandon has successfully completed the construction of a 600 by 600 sump and pump package with a Grundfos CC7.
Get that on the big jobs.
Alright, ship it.
Consider it ship, boss.